So there I am, crossing into Canada for what was supposed to be a casual hike to Mount Royal, see some of the sights, Old Montreal. And the next thing I know, I am standing in a Border Patrol lot while 8 Border Patrol agents are tearing my car apart and questioning myself and my 3 buddies. Turns out my definition of preparedness or being prepared wasn't quite theirs. Welcome to Backyard Bushcraft Radio. Fireside chats brought to you by Backyard Bushcraft. Real talk, real skills, and no hype survival for everyday life. Hey everyone, welcome back to the show, Backyard Bushcraft Radio. My name is Justin, I'm going to be your host. I just want to go through a little bit of housekeeping before we jump into it. Forgive my glasses here. So first off, just a huge thank you to anyone that tuned into my introductory episode last week and left any feedback. If you haven't seen that episode yet and you want to, by all means, check it out. It is simply who I am and what you can expect from this podcast. If you haven't yet checked out Backyard Bushcraft on YouTube, that is my channel. I try to get new videos out weekly. Sometimes it's an every other week type thing. It's a little crazy sometimes with work. I am getting into the slower season though with what I do for a living. So I will do my best to try at least one video a week for you. Again, covering skills, gear, and the real world practice that keeps us sharp for when we do finally get out into the woods, into the environment. The scenery is a little bit different tonight. Long Island is getting pounded by a nor'easter, so unfortunately I can't be sitting next to the fire. I'm inside my shop. Every once in a while, I'm going to have to come in here if the weather prevents me from being outside. But I will try to stick to the fireside chats as best I can when the weather permits. So that's the reason why we have a different environment tonight. I just want to go on record and say my game plan of trying to get one podcast a week out there may have been a little ambitious. So I'm new to the podcast thing. Like I said, I do the videos on the YouTube, full-time work, family. So I think right now, until I get a little bit more organized and I have a better hold on just bringing this all together, the podcast and the YouTube video and some of the things that I'm working on, I'm going to try for an every other week schedule just to be a little bit more consistent. I don't want to promise that I'm going to have a weekly episode out there and there won't be a weekly episode. So I think just to be a little bit more consistent and to keep my word to you guys out there, every other week right now works for me. And, like I said, once I get things a little bit more manageable and I really get a grasp of, or a workflow, a better workflow, I will increase that obviously to a podcast once a week. So thanks for your patience on that. And finally, I just want to give a quick shout out to a really good friend of mine. His name is David. He has a store on Etsy. I am not affiliated with him. He's not paying me for this. This was just, hey, we went away this weekend. And I said, you know what, buddy, for the experience that we had together with this Canadian thing, I'm going to give you a shout out. I'll try getting him on the show, but he's a little camera shy. I'm going to get him out here, though. Really cool dude. But anyway, he's got a store on Etsy. I used to be a tree. He makes things, handmade stuff. It's the guy is super talented. Over my shoulder here, I have a Backyard Bushcraft flag. He made that. Right now, he has these slate coasters personalized for me, handmade, and also he's got like a fall series. You can see right here. So I mean, really well done, all handcrafted. The guy is super, super talented, and I definitely suggest checking it out. I used to be a tree on Etsy. Head on over there and maybe even buy something. Who knows? So let's get into what happened this weekend. So like I said in the beginning of the podcast, this was supposed to be a very casual hike into Canada. Let me just rewind a little bit. Went away to the Adirondacks, got a house with about 8 guys. The game plan was to hike Ausable Chasm, hike Whiteface Mountain, hike into go into Canada, into Montreal, and hike Mount Royal, go into Old Montreal, see some of the sights, just really have a good 4 days, uh, you know, outside in the world. So everything was going well. We did Ausable Chasm, which is absolutely beautiful. If you have not seen or been there, I highly recommend. It's a very easy hike, and it is incredible. The views are spectacular, and just to be there and see, what Mother Nature can provide for your eyes is just there's nothing better. There is no place better than Ausable Chasm as a very first hike, and my first time in the Adirondacks this time of year. It was breathtaking, just with the views, the weather. It really was perfect. So unfortunately, we partied a little too hard that night. We didn't get a chance to do Whiteface Mountain. We were going to save that for a day that I wouldn't be able to do it. We decided to do the Mount Royal hike in Canada, right? I've never been to Canada. A couple of the guys that I was with, like I said, the 8 of us, some have been, some haven't been. And it wound up being just, hey, you know what? We didn't get to Whiteface Mountain as early as we'd like. Let's shoot up to Canada and enjoy the hike. Great. So, again, very simple. Drove to Canada. It's about an hour from where we were, or I'm sorry, about 25 minutes from where we were. We get to the border, and you just knew right there that I was already on a on a downward trend. Well, it was 4 of us in the car, and I wasn't paying attention to the signs, where to stop. I pulled up a little too close to somebody in front of me. When we handed our passports over to the Border Patrol agent in the booth, she kind of yelled at me and just said, hey, if you don't want to get shot, if you don't want to get shot, if we have to shoot somebody for doing the wrong thing, we don't want you in the way. There's a reason why you needed to stop at the stop sign. So I kind of chuckled and said, yeah, I don't want to get shot, no worries. But she was all business, very professional. And I kind of knew right then and there that this was definitely, I wasn't in Kansas anymore. So she asked us the normal questions: how long we know each other, where we are, where we're going, where we're coming from. The normal questions that a border agent would ask 4 guys crossing into their country. And she asked us if we had anything to declare. One of the things that popped up was like mace. She said mace, and I said, hey, I don't have mace, but I have bear spray, right? Because we're going hiking and we're in the Adirondacks, and it could be that time of year where we come across a bear, and I wanted to be prepared. So I thought. So she goes, okay, cool. Writes it down, directs us over to where the Border Patrol agents are, where I guess they have to, I guess they inspect the car, or they look for the bear spray. We pull up, and these dudes, there was 4 of them with their French accents, super serious, all business, hands on the wheel, listen to us very carefully. We have no idea what happened at the gate. This is what we were told. This is what we're going to look for. If everything checks out, you're good to go. Awesome. I get out of the car. I take out my everyday carry, which was a pocket knife and my chapstick and my lighter, threw it in the center console, and we left our phones in the car, and everyone goes behind this yellow line that we were told to stand behind. So again, asking us all the same questions: where we're from, why we're here, what our plans are, how long we've known each other for, all these different things. Then I guess my pocket knife, if you've seen my YouTube videos, I did a review on it, the F3 Charlie Tech Toe pocket knife. It's a finger assisted blade. You don't, it's not really mechanical where you can open it. You can finger flick it. You can open it like this. And apparently that's illegal in Canada. So they don't like those. So the Border Patrol guy said, hey, you told us about the bear spray. Awesome. But now we have this knife, which is illegal in Canada. Now we have the right to search for more stuff in your car, and which I had no problem with at all, because I don't carry weapons with me. I don't I don't have a concealed carry. You know, I don't carry anything like that in my vehicle. So why would I care? Why would I even be nervous? So they're looking now. I have 12 border agents that are, eight of them are pretty much surrounding us. The four of us. It's me, my buddy Dave, um, my buddy Chris, and Pat. And there's eight guys now surrounding us, and there's four guys in my car. And then I see the one main guy who was dealing with me. He asked me directly, "Is this my vehicle?" I said, "Yes." He goes, "Everything in this car, excluding what is your friend's, is this your vehicle?" I said, "Sure. So this is my car." Great, because the throwing knives are, although they're not illegal in Canada, we just, now that we found the throwing knives and we have the pocket knife and we have the bear spray, we now have to do a thorough search of your vehicle. Now, just pause there for a second. I did say throwing knives, and I didn't even realize what he was saying because I was so nervous at this point. I didn't know what to do. So I had now another bunch of guys jump on my truck. I had like eight guys now in my truck, and they were, I mean, ripping it apart like I was smuggling some high-end narcotics into this country. With that, the guy then, the Border Patrol agent, then mentioned something about throwing knives again, and I was very, very confused. So I asked him, I said, "Excuse me, I have a question. What exactly was my question? Is very simple. What exactly what are throwing knives? Like what exactly are you talking about?" And he pulls out this this leather case of freaking throwing knives. I had a subscription service to um Battle Box, and they sent throwing knives in one package. And for whatever reason, these things were in my freaking glove box. I had no idea. And the dude saw me roll my eyes and just saw pretty much like my soul leave my body because I was like, "Oh my God, I can't believe I have freaking throwing knives in my truck." He told me they weren't illegal. He then had a word with his boss or his coworker, whatever, and he turns around and says, "No, I'm sorry, they are illegal." And then he once again asked me, "Again, this vehicle is yours. Everything in this truck except what is your friend's is yours." I said, "Yes." He said, "Okay, you're not under arrest, but you have the right to remain silent." And that's where, in my brain, everything kind of like started, like panic mode was immediately instilled into my life. They came over to us. They turned us around. "Please turn around, spread your legs apart, hands behind your back, bend over, look right, look left." A full frisk, and they said, "You're not under arrest. You're being detained because you did not declare this. You did not, the pocket knife obviously is not a mechanical pocket knife. This is not the United States. We are not a Second Amendment country. You know, what is legal there obviously is not always going to be legal here. And you really need to pay attention to that." Something I did not do. I was not prepared for that. And these guys tore my truck apart. So really quick, just long story short, they all went into they found my microphone for my YouTube channel. I told them, he asked me what it was. I said, it's a microphone for my YouTube channel. He asked me what the name of the YouTube channel was. He found I don't even know. I don't even know if I have an extra one laying around. So I wear fresh air at work, right? We wear fresh air masks. So it's not uncommon for me to have like a mask, a respirator, in my truck. But I recently did a video on the cartridges we use on these fresh air masks, and that was in my truck as well. So that was something else that they found that like raised suspicion. And that was what was holding us up. They just kept finding these things that I was not prepared for. I was not prepared for this situation. So they go do a background check. I guess they look at the YouTube channel because they actually complimented me on the YouTube channel today. It was a pretty good YouTube channel. And once I think they saw that, and I'm sure they were listening to our conversations, once they kind of started putting together that we weren't international terrorists, and we weren't looking to, do any harm in Canada. I was given the option to either surrender my illegal items to the crown, or I can have them back, but I'd risk being expelled from Canada, and it would cost me $3,000 to get everything back and go on my way. Which at that point I told them I'll pretty much sign whatever you want. So I signed over my F3 Charlie Tecto knife and the throwing knives that I had no clue that I was even carrying to the crown. Canada and the king are now in possession of these items. And they literally said to us, listen, this is not the United States, and you're coming into a different country. We are not a Second Amendment country. We do not have the same laws here. If you did not have two cool guys understanding of your situation, first time in Canada, on a little getaway with the guys, just wanting to come in here for a day hike, this whole thing could have gone in a different direction, and they could have brought the full force of the crown against me. So yeah, that's the story. That's what happened in Canada. From that point on, I was shook. My brain was just, oh my God, I can't believe I'm going to get arrested. Are we going to get arrested? Am I going to go to jail? I'm not prepared for this at all. What the hell did I get myself into? And the guys thought it was hysterical. I mean, we laughed probably from the moment we drove away until, we're still laughing about it, but it was one of, if not the most terrifying experiences of my life. I've never been so scared. I have never been so nervous. And I have to say, that's what's led to today's episode, right? So I started thinking, I can't do what's legit and what's not legit in the bushcraft community. I figured this is a whole different spin on preparedness. I was prepared for a hike. I was prepared for something totally different. And what really happened was not what I was prepared for at all, and that's really why I wanted to do this episode instead of who's legit and who's not in bushcraft. So that's the story. Hopefully you got a laugh out of it. Hopefully you found it as intense as I did, because it really scared the crap out of me. Like I said, I don't think I've ever been that nervous ever in my life. Just to possibly be arrested in a different country for something that was a massive misunderstanding. Like, there was just no ill intention at all to break any laws or cause any trouble. And that was it was pretty crazy. It was pretty intense. So that's the Canada story. With that, I learned that day preparedness isn't just about having the right gear. It's about knowing where you are, what's around you, and what rules apply, right? Because every environment has its own survival game, essentially, right? In the woods, it's the threat of exposure. At the border, it's ignorance. And that's really what caught me off guard, was my ignorance to what preparedness really is all about. Preparedness doesn't just stop at carrying a knife. It's about carrying knowledge with you. When the situation changes, can you adapt without panicking? Can you stay calm? Can you be respectful and be thinking 3 steps ahead, without making any poor decisions? That's preparedness. It's not paranoia. It's awareness, really. That's what it comes down to. I've spent years in my backyard practicing bushcraft skills, building shelters, starting fires, showing people how to start fires, the proper way to collect firewood for your fire, the proper way to tie a knot for a shelter. But this experience really reminded me that preparedness lives everywhere. It's the mom with the first aid kit in the car. It's the dad who checks the weather constantly, before a major road trip. It's the worker who keeps extra batteries in his backpack, for when that situation arises. It's not It's not just bushcraft. It's I guess you could kind of say it's like lifecraft, as silly as it may sound. But it really taught me a whole new way to look at being prepared. So now, I had a couple of days up there, so I really thought about it. Like this is not your normal preparedness type conversation, because this is not something people are normally thinking about, right? So now going forward, when I pack for a trip, whether it's in the woods, it's going to the city, it's going to the border, it doesn't really matter where I'm going. I'm going to ask myself three simple questions all the time. What's the worst case scenario? Obviously, we always want to try to keep that in the back of our mind. What's the most likely case, right? Like the worst case scenario, we don't want, prepare for the worst, expect the best. The worst case scenario, we don't want to happen. But how many of us really think about what's the most likely experience, or what's the most likely event that's gonna happen while we're out doing our thing? And you know, what do I have that's gonna handle either one of those situations? So that's how you stay ready without losing, your freedom, essentially, or your pocket knife to a to a border agent crossing into Canada. So I was ready for a bear. I was ready for the weather. I was ready for being dehydrated. I was not ready for a border agent or border patrol, which is, again, what is the worst case scenario, but what is the likely scenario that you're going to come across when you're going outside or out to do anything for that matter. So next time, I guess the advice I would give, which makes sense, is the next time you go out, not just go out and, check your gear before you go out, but check your context. Like, all right, what am I doing? And do I really need some of the things that I was planning on taking with me? Is that really a likely scenario that I'm going to have to worry about, or that I'm going to have to come across? Really think about some of those things so you don't find yourself in the situation I was in. So preparedness is knowing your surroundings, it's knowing your tools, it's knowing yourself. The worst words that you can live by is, that's not going to happen to me, right? Like, how many times when you're getting ready to go somewhere or do something, either you're saying it to yourself or someone's saying to you, hey, don't be so paranoid, or bro, that's not going to happen, don't worry, you're good. It really is taking that extra minute and that extra thought to really to go over what the context of your trip is, not just what your gear is. Yeah, so like I said, that was a hell of a trip. Had a hell of a time. I met, I will say this, at almost 50 years old, my circle has gotten smaller. I feel like every year my circle gets smaller, which I have no problem with. I don't need a lot of people in my world, but every once in a while you come across a group where you say to yourself, hey, you know what? These are not bad people to include into your circle. And I think that's really what happened this weekend. I was able to meet, 4 or 5 really cool guys, got to know them. We got to hang out. We enjoyed a real beautiful hike in Osable Chasm. We had some great laughs that night. We had some great laughs because of my my border incident. We did not. I did not get to go on the Whiteface Mountain hike. Those guys did. Something I definitely wish I was able to experience with them. But I will say, every once in a while, you're going to have to allow your circle maybe to get a little bit bigger when the time is right. And I really think that was one of those times. I think I made some good friends here that I'm looking forward to the next trips down the road. So good stuff. Thank God no one got arrested, no one got hurt, and that's really why I wanted to tell the story today. I wanted to take preparedness maybe down a different path that nobody was really expecting. Because, like I said, it's not just about what you pack with you, what kind of gear you're carrying. There's, I learned a lot more to it than that. It's the context of your trip. So I guess we got to keep that in mind for next time. And like I said, words that you don't want to have come back to bite you in the ass is that could never happen to me. All right, that's it for today's fireside chat. If you enjoyed hanging out, make sure you subscribe to Backyard Bushcraft Radio so you don't miss the next episode. And if you want to see this stuff in action, head over to my YouTube channel, Backyard Bushcraft. I post weekly videos with skills, gear reviews, and builds you can follow along with. I'll drop the link in the show notes so it's easy to find. Thanks for spending some time around the fire with me. Until next time, stay prepared, stay real, and I'll catch you in the next one.